Many people think about committing suicide every day. In some situations, it can be very difficult to find a reason to stay alive. Here, we want to talk about at least 13 reasons to live. The first reason, for someone. When I discovered that I can bear the suffering for someone. In the concentration camp, Viktor Frankl met some people who were willing to commit suicide. He could help some of them with this reflection. If there would be anyone for whom it would be worthy to bear the suffering of the concentration camp until the end, and keep the hope to maybe one day meet this person again. This reflection helped many people to leave their will to die and start bearing the suffering to be alive under those circumstances for someone. The second reason, for a task. When I discovered that I can bear the suffering through a task that I can do, a task that occupies my mind and that gives me a meaning to that moment of my life. So when I start a task, I notice that I have the ability to offer something good for the people around me. The intelligence. While we are alive, we're constantly challenged by our existence. Our mind is helping us to find ways out from the problems. And that's why we have conditions to bear suffering. It's a fact that there are always exits. That's why we can make the categorical affirmation that life has meaning. So if we are not finding exits, it's because our intelligence is somehow mistaken. Some strong emotion can prevent us from finding and perceiving the many possibilities of overcoming that problem. For love. Besides of thinking about the good of the loved one, when you love someone, you live a profound experience. When Viktor Frankl was a prisoner in the concentration camp, he says that in the end of a hard day of work, tiredness, hunger, what gave him comfort was to think about his wife, to remember the good moments he spent with his wife. Even not knowing if she was alive. Why? Even in her absence, love was present and brought him meaning. Humor. The ability to laugh at our difficulties. An example for us to understand, because it can seem a little strange to laugh at our difficulties, is to see that it is an exit. Yes, it is an exit, because humor opens windows in us. It helps us to see new possibilities here inside ourselves. An example of this, I think many people have heard about the Doctors of Joy. This wonderful work that the clowns do in the hospitals, mainly in the oncological hospitals. So their work is exactly to help patients who are in that experience of suffering to be able to laugh, not just to face the suffering, but to bear the pain. The art. One of the ways to help the mind to bear the suffering is through transcendence. Art helps us transcend, to have this self-detachment to be able to see reality through another premise. Music, drawing, painting, sculpture, theater, it all helps us getting out of that materialism of the now. That sometimes brings us anguish, and that's why we don't see other possibilities. Art helps us to do that. It gives us this possibility for our mind to think about the reality we're living in a different way. Resilience. Resilience helps us to discover the force we have, that is the capacity to bear and to face difficult situations. And when I face it, I get better, I grow up, I evolve, I develop myself, I transform myself. Alterity, the capacity to put yourself in someone's shoes. It's so important, no? Because this getting out of myself helps me to see that the world isn't only the suffering I'm living in. There is much more. The Rabbi Hillel has a phrase that helps us to make this reflection. If I don't do, who will do? If I don't do now, when will I do? If I do only for myself, who am I? It helps us think that the meaning of life is also to look for the others, to put ourselves in the other's shoes. So there is this reflection, this questioning. I can't do only for myself. I need to look around me. There is always someone by your side, near you, at least at your reach, who needs some help. Maybe you think you can't offer this help, but deep down you can. Sometimes it's only a presence, a sitting together and have the patience to listen. It's already a great help, and you surely can do this. Curiosity. Even if it can seem seductive, the idea to know what is after death, there is no evidence about what can exist, not even if there is anything. On the other hand, there is a certainty about life, because it is being experienced in some way. Even in suffering, through experience, we also know that the time passes, and that with the time comes new possibilities. I can challenge myself that there are millions of possibilities that will visit us tomorrow. Why not wait to see what happens? The price to see the next day is just the patience to live today. Legacy. The truth is that we are all building a story, and our life also has meaning. When we face the relationship with others, we're always thinking about what we're going to leave, what the others will think about us. And to keep our life and find one more reason to stay alive, we can think about it. If I give up living today, if I decide to take my life today, what will I leave for the others? What will I leave for the people around me? Asking this question helps me perceiving that I can live one more day. I can live more. Even if it is to have an opportunity to build a better story. Faith. There are studies in the field of psychology and psychiatry that demonstrate that the people who have some kind of faith can overcome with more dignity the suffering they are experiencing. My mirror. I can come to a point in my life, as many people do, that I don't like myself anymore. I don't like my body, I don't like my financial situation, I don't like my family, I don't like my work. I can come to that point, but I can never run away from my conscience. My mirror can help me look into my eyes. When you look into a person's eyes, you can't lie. Sometimes you can even try, but deep down, if we look someone in the eyes, we will be able to see the truth. To stop in front of the mirror is to be able to see this truth, that even if you don't like yourself, there is something beautiful, and it is your existence. So, this facing your own mirror is also a reason for you to stay alive. Because in the fight of this conflict, the winner is the truth. And the truth is that your life, after all, has meaning. The mission. There's nobody like me. Since my biology classes at school, I know that among the more than 7 billion people around the world, nobody has a fingerprint like mine. Nobody has a DNA like mine. For some reason, I was born in this time of history and in this space of the universe. My existence has a meaning, as well as numerous living things exist for a reason, for a purpose. I certainly have mine. I probably came to this point because many circumstances led me to think that my life wasn't important, that my story didn't make any difference. But from the day I was conceived, I started changing the world around me. My mother's life changed, my father's life, my family's life. The peoples who met me when I was a baby, and the friends I made during all these years. Even if they didn't like me, I represent something to them. My life made differences so far, even if I didn't know what I wanted, even if I didn't understand the value of my life, even in the times I was thinking only of myself. In some way, directly or indirectly, my life is touching other people's lives. Today, reading these texts about 13 reasons to live, I ask myself, what is my mission? What is within my reach? What will I be able to do during the years that will come, so that my life can positively influence the people around me? My future. I'm not sure about my future, but I can project myself. The 13th reason to live is located in a sincere dialogue with a person called my future. He has my name, and he's older than me. In my case, I'm 40. I want to talk to my 80-year-old self. After looking in the mirror and seeing myself from now, I want to look in the eyes of the 80-year-old gentleman, who will look at me and will tell me what I did right and what I did wrong. I'm giving him the opportunity to tell me what is wrong nowadays. He passed through these. He lived that moment, and after some time, he understood well the reasons of the suffering that I'm living. I look in the eyes of this 80-year-old gentleman, and I can't think of any other thing than find him safe and sound 40 years from now. I love this gentleman. I want to be able to hug him. I will do everything to find him well. I know, if you paid attention, you noticed that there are more than 13 reasons in this video. Don't worry, I would write 1,013 reasons to keep you alive. And I wouldn't mind to make a mistake about the sequence of the numbers. In the end, no matter how many reasons you have to take your life, remember, you need only one reason to stay alive.